Hello, welcome to Academy Voices. Hi, Angela.
Hello, Anthony.
Hi. We are live
We
and welcome
are.
everybody. It's good to have you. How are you doing today?
I am excellent.
Oh,
How
that
are
is
you today,
good.
Anthony?
I'm excellent too. Oh, my
You're
camera.
oh
My
god, you
camera said I'm not
Candle can't
excellent.
handle all the handsomeness with that dapper
It's a
hat you have on.
scandalous. Scandalous. Well, it is so good to have everybody. Thank you for coming today.
Mm,
Gabby's not feeling too well, so unfortunately she's unable to be here.
okay.
But we're going to strive to do our best
As
to help
always.
you. Yes.
Hmm.
And I think we have a very wonderful topic today, don't you, Angela?
I think so.
Yeah.
Hopeful.
So what do we want to so why don't you tell us what are we chatting about today?
Well, of course, these chats are always based on a lot of. Sir, put your phone on vibrate.
Oh, come on! And this happened last
Is
time
this
we
your
were on
first
too.
time? Is this your first
This
time
is my
live?
first time doing a live. This is
Oh
my
my
first
god.
time.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
still
Okay.
going off too.
So,
There's more phones.
as always, these live streams are always based on questions that we see most often. And what we're seeing these days is what is included in an audiobook?
Mm,
Which sections should be omitted? What is included? So, let's talk
yes.
about it. And of course, if you guys have questions in the chat, please ask. That's what we're here for.
No, absolutely. And it's always been, I think it's always been a thing since I started, since any of us do audiobooks, right? Is what are the files we need to create? So with any
Mm-hmm.
audiobook, right, we have to create a lot of files.
Yeah.
And we have an opening credits file, we have a closing credits file, we have a retail sample file, and then of course we have the files themselves that compose of the book as a whole. But there are other files that are often included that can be acknowledgments, that can be authors, but author's note. There can be a bunch of other things, but there's a lot of other stuff, and that's what we want to chat about today. That we could put in, right? That could be that are in a book that we don't necessarily typically make files for unless we are given direct instructions to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start off. Angela, start us off. What are some of the files? Well, how do you want? I mean, I kind of listed. I went through just quickly there what the general files are. But and by the way, if anybody doesn't know, you probably know by now. But Angela is in charge of the publishing part of Academy Voices, right? She takes all of your lovely work and painstakingly goes over each file to make sure that it is done correctly and formatted correctly and edited correctly and then all that stuff. So she knows where it's at. So start us off, Angela. Like where do you want to start from what they need, what they don't need?
Well, what I typically tell people if they're just starting out in audiobook narration is to use the table of contents as your guide. The table of contents will tell you if there's an introduction, if there's how many chapters there are, if there are subsections within that chapter, if there's, like Anthony said, an about the author. Sometimes they'll include a dedication. Sometimes there's, of course, the preface and the prologue. There's an epilogue, and then sometimes there's usually almost like I almost said back cover fodder, but I guess it could be like other books written by this author or other stuff that we typically don't include in an audiobook. But if you use the table of contents as your guide, and if there are some of those extra sections in there, what I would do is just ask the author. I mean,
Mm,
ultimately, it's their production, it's their baby. Ask them if they want it included. But I would have to I would have to say no to citations and references,
mm,
the glossaries,
yes.
unless it's like absolutely necessary and the author absolutely wants it. But if it's a per finished hour book, make sure that you're also including that in your quote.
Yeah, you're right. And typically that we don't put those things in there
No.
usually because it's very odd to listen to that.
Yeah.
Another thing that you might come across even more often than all of that is tables and charts because
Yes.
tables and charts are typically in right. They're in the book themselves. They're not a footnote or something before or after, and it can be vital to the information in the book. However, If you have ever tried to read one of those or narrate them, it completely destroys the it's just they're made to be visual. They're
Yeah.
really not made to be read. And so we typically do not read charts, tables, etc. How we do it, or how it's done usually, and has to be done through the author or through us, depending what Academy voices, right? Is that we go to them and say, usually what you do is they would offer a PDF of these charts and tables on their website. And in the audiobook, you would literally say, check out so and so's website where you can find a PDF of the chart from this section, right?
Hmm.
Or whatever the wording that you and the author come up with. But does that make sense, Angela? Is that
Yes, I mean, actually, the PDF can be uploaded up into to accompany the audiobook as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
But the thing to keep in mind with those is that as the narrator, you want to let the author know that they have to create this PDF with those images. And there's usually, when there are tables, graphs, visual references, it's referenced in the audiobook text itself. So you as the narrator will need to know where those are on the PDF so you can reference them accordingly. Like, see illustration
Right.
1.2 on the accompanying PDF or something. So there might be a little bit of revision required to the manuscript
Mhm.
to match the new PDF, if that's the case. So just keep that in mind.
Absolutely. And I do think that it's important to note as well that you are possibly working with a new author,
Yeah.
someone who has no idea themselves
Yeah.
what it should or should not be. And that is where, like, hopefully today, as you're listening to us and stuff, this will give you the confidence to be like, okay, yes, so and so, this is how it's typically done. You know what I mean? These are one or two reasons why, and this is how we can have a solution, right? Because it's important, I think, for you as a narrator to be able to help in that way. Because if you don't, and you don't have the answer, they're usually going to default to, we'll just do it all, and it's going to be very awkward. You're not going to know, and then so yeah. So this is a good way of knowing what to say to do. Um, you mentioned too, table of contents. We don't do
Hmm.
typically, right? The short notes, unless an author, and some authors are very diehard on like the dedication. We
Hmm.
don't usually do dedications, but if they want a dedication, you know what I mean? If the author wants you to read all of it, you kind of read all of it, but do exactly what Angela said. Charge.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Charge.
Yeah.
And here's a note too. The reason why we don't do table of contents is simple. It's because how the players are set up is they're already set up with the table of contents. So reading the table of contents doesn't make much sense, because when you go into the player, right, you can click on the chapters for most of them,
Yeah.
right? And it doesn't make sense to read the table of contents. Um, let's see what else. So what are you seeing when it comes to formatting? What are some challenges or some things or questions people are having for you, Angela?
I think most of the time it's if a chapter or if a file is exceeding 115 minutes, if it needs to
This
be
is an
split
important one. Thank you. Yes.
or
Let's talk about that.
okay,
Yeah, let's talk about that.
okay.
So the rules, if you were, we most platforms or most retailers, right, will take a file up to 1 hour and 15 minutes. Some will be a little bit more, but the general is an hour and 15 minutes. That's what we like to stick to. So let's say that you get a book, right, and it's like one chapter, or it's just like, The Awakening, and it's an hour and 45 minutes
Yeah.
long, right? And there's no stopping, there's no pausing. There might be some subtitles in there, but there's no chapter heads.
Yeah.
And you record all of it, and you're like, well, it's an hour and 45 minutes. And you submit the file. It's like, wow, it's an hour and 45 minutes. I'm done. Okay. Well, no, we cannot use that. It has to be split. So let's talk about, Angela, what are some things that and again, the reason why it has to be split is because it can only be up to an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's what the majority of all retailers do. So we have to follow those rules. Well, what do you recommend that narrators do when it comes to splitting?
Well, what I have done in the past is if one chapter exceeds the minute limit, I'll find a good place sort of in the middle where maybe there is a break in thought or hopefully like a subheading. If there's usually subheadings or sub,
Right.
within that one chapter, just split it in the middle, starting at a new subheading, and then also make sure that the two new files are also formatted appropriately with the room tone at the head and tail, and name them Chapter 1, Part 1, and then Chapter 1, Part 2. Easy peasy.
And this is a lot that we deal with this a lot.
Yeah.
I think in Academy Voices. I know whenever I've done books not with Academy Voices, my own stuff, I've maybe had to deal with it a handful of times or less, because people don't write necessarily that way as much anymore.
Yeah.
But we deal with it quite often, and so it's if we don't do that, Angela's stuck, or whoever's the publisher stuck having to go through it, cut it up, possibly recording something over, you know what I mean, to the title, right, or whatever of that chapter head, trying to figure that out. So it is now an easy way to do it is exactly what Angela said to do. That's the very simple way to do it. I've even done just part one, part two,
Mm-hmm.
because and making sure that each file though is still correctly done.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it has to be. And then what I like to do is if we go to do that, right, I try to keep the files under an hour, so like at 50 something minutes,
Yeah.
if you can, but because don't do like 1 hour and four, one's like one's hour 15 minutes and one's 20 minutes or something. You can
Right.
break it up a
Right.
little bit differently.
Right.
um Now, I will admit to you, I have not. When we get into those scenarios, Angela, I don't know how you feel about this, but I've and maybe I should more, but I've not really tried. But when we're publishing, it's hard to go through that story and also find like where's the best place to cut this into part one, part two. I would say don't stress so much about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't stress about this is the right place. It's got to be perfect. It's got to be a stopping point. Don't stress about that. Would you agree?
Yeah. I would agree. I would agree because if you think about it from the listener's perspective, if they're listening straight through, it's just there's going to be a pause and then it's going to start again when the next file
Mhm.
comes into play. So it's not going to be that big of a deal.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So what do we let's see. Do we
So,
got any?
okay, so let me throw this in the mix because I've had this
Yeah.
question a couple times. What if it's a poetry book or a cookbook? Because I have
Oh yeah.
personally, oh yeah, you can make cookbooks, audiobooks.
Oh, I've
I've
done them. I've
personally
done a few.
recorded a few.
Yes, I have too.
So, what do we do in those instances?
Yeah. So, a couple things. So, first and foremost, to note, if we are doing something that's in the public domain, please, don't forget. And again, this through us, so we'll let you know. Hopefully, but typically, if it's in the public domain, remember we can manipulate something, right? Because we can change, some things, meaning like we can say, this is recipe one, this is recipe two. We can say, this is, poem one, poem two. We can do those things, even if they're not necessarily in the original book, because we have the ability to do that. And did you know, same thing can be done for things that are not in the public domain. And there's oftentimes you will find, if you've ever listened to, especially if the author themselves narrates it or something like that, it will not always be the same as the written word.
Yeah.
Okay, because it doesn't always come across that way. But I I have a rule for myself. I never do poetry. That's personal
Why?
because I can't stay because I had a really bad experience. I got a job from this dude who had just got, I'll never forget, this was early on in my career. He wanted to talk to me on the phone. It was this book of poems. And I've come to find out he wrote this book of poems because he got divorced, and it was about his journey of being divorced. and it was royalty share, and it was the most. He was so every poem was he was so particular about every poem, and it had to be done just all perfect. So like he would call me, and I would go through this, and this was early on, so I was really like, I'm gonna get this right. I made nothing. I don't think I made one penny on any of that stuff. No one listened to the poor dude's moaning about his divorce, and it was awful. Anyway,
Oh
so
my
since then,
gosh.
that's not true because I did I it's not true because I've done some Edgar Allan Poe for us and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't do any current stuff. I said bad experience.
So you're a little gun shy
I'm a
from
little
okay.
jaded. I'm
I
a little
mean,
jaded.
that's understandable.
I'm a little jaded. What about you? What
Oh,
about you?
yeah, I've done just about anything you can think of. I've done poetry, I've done cookbooks, I've done but I would say from a formatting perspective for those, ultimately if you're working with a client, if it's a client's book, refer to what they want you to do. But what I would suggest and what we do at Academy Voices is we split the files per poem for poetry. Because if you think about it from the listener's perspective, and this is what I always, as you guys know, I always put myself in the end user's perspective. For them, if they find one they like, they can easily go back and find it. That was file 3. I can go back to file 3 and listen to it again instead of trying to hunt through, an entire file to find something they like. So
Mm,
split them up by poem. If the author says, you do what you do, that's what I would do. For
mhm,
cookbooks, it's a little bit different. It's going to depend on how the cookbook is formatted. If it's all about desserts, for example, and each different page is a new dessert, I would make each file a different dessert. But if it's a large book and it's got entrees and appetizers, I might separate it by entrees, appetizers. But again, ask the author how they want it done because they may want every recipe a separate file, which would make
mhm.
sense. Just like the poetry, if they're looking for a specific recipe, they can go right to that file to find it.
No joy. I will never share that book, that poetry book with you or anyone. No, I'm kidding.
It's in the vaults.
I mean, I hate to say it, it's probably still live on Amazon, so you probably can still find it.
I mean, you might get a couple pennies from that one
I
today.
mean, yeah, no, it's just not. So,
That's
yeah,
funny.
I would say so. Here's another thing too about that. Yes, there are going to be projects where there is a lot of files.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a lot of files, hundreds of files, and so I think that and I would say unless it's some commissioned project that is, next level poetry or cookbook, the reality is they usually, I mean, I don't know how much they pay what they pay. They're, so because I would be like, take that in consideration when you charge. But you definitely want to have those questions ready to go
Hmm.
so that when you go into that situation with the author, you can ask them. Because again, they're not going to know. They're going to think, well, you know what to do. But God
Yeah.
forbid, what you don't want to do is record the whole thing and then them come back and be like, this is not how we want it done.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why it's very good to have these questions ready to go. Because I always think, and it's very helpful to have a list of questions depending on each type of audio book or book you're going to do so that you can, it's something you go right away to the author and you say, hey, I'm really excited to work for you. Here's a couple of questions I want to ask before I get started. I mean, it makes perfect sense. It almost feels weird if you have no questions for them, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
Now, if they give you everything you need, right, which is hopefully, what we're always striving to do, even though we're gonna be, we're still working on doing some more stuff. Because I think with Academy Voices and Angela, we talk a little bit about that. I think with Academy Voices, we're finding is, we are in a unique position and that we go through so many different genres, so many different types of literature throughout history.
Hmm.
That is, one day we could be doing some, uh some financial book from the turn of the century to another day we're doing, Mary Shelley to another day we're doing something from the 1600s to the I mean, like there's so much, we did the history of beer. What did we do? What was
Yeah,
the
that was cool. Yeah,
That's
the
good.
history
I
of
mean,
beer.
we did popcorn. What was the one we did about popcorn? The different popcorn flavors. We did that
I
was
missed that one. I'll have to
someone
go
was
look for
very.
it.
I don't know, or we were supposed to, or we were looking for, because that people are really excited about doing that one. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I'd go look for it.
I think that the thing is though is so like we are definitely trying to get better at giving information, right, that can help you know the way. And we know there's a lot of people that work with us who they're brand new. This is their first audiobook,
Hmm.
and it can be very daunting, because I know when I first started on ACX, I don't know about your experience, Angela, but it was very, even uploading the files. The biggest thing I was confused about was I wanted to use a pseudonym and I didn't understand do I have to start another account? I mean, I
Mm,
remember going through all that. I didn't know, how do I even use a pseudonym? Now
yeah.
that's something interesting for us. How do people use a pseudonym with us, Angela?
With us, I think they just let us know they want to use a
Exactly.
pseudonym
Just let us know. All you
because
gotta
we
do is
would
tell us.
we would have to know. I mean, especially if it's a pseudonym that absolutely positively cannot be associated with you at all, then definitely let us know that you're using a pseudonym. That way, the cover art has the correct name on it, that, all the credits are the correct name. So we don't want, but I mean, that's pretty simple. And it's pretty much the same on ACX too. It's just another conversation you want to have with the author before you get started. So they can also make sure that the correct name is on their cover art, so on and so forth.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it's very important to, with us at least, is to be very clear about, please don't assume we know your full name and your pseudonym name. Make sure we know both, because
Yeah.
remember, in order to pay you and everything, we need your real name, and then the pseudonym name. Because I've run into that a couple of times where we've had on our list the pseudonym name, but that's not the real name. It's like we don't know who this person is because they're not
Yeah.
in our system. They're their real names in the system, but we don't know who it is. So, all right. I know we got some stuff. We've got some commentos over here.
Let's go to the commentos.
All right. Good day, folks. Let's see. Thank you, three, for the. Oh, wait. What was this one? Never mind. Thank you, three, for the lives. And there's no. It's only time and break in the day that I poke my head out of the padded room and get to interact with other humans. It's important.
It is every
It's
once in a
important.
while.
I try to take my furry friends out and walk them sometimes. That helps me get out of here. Uh, do. Good afternoon to you too.
We got a
Yeah.
few questions and comments down towards the bottom.
Okay, let's see. Is this one?
Textbook with
Oh,
right
just
above it, the acknowledgement. That's a good one. That I would ask the rights holder about the acknowledgement because sometimes they're typically not included, but if the author wants it included, so when in doubt, always ask the author, ask the rights holder.
Christian. Christian says my pen name is Elon
Elon
Musk.
Mollusk. That's
Uh,
hilarious.
okay. Let's see. Josh says I just got my first paid audiobook contract.
Congrats, Josh.
Congrats. Good deal, Josh.
Good
I'm
job,
waiting on the
Josh.
manuscript now. Very good. Very good. Well, thank you, Marilyn. I needed some of that.
Those are my donuts. You can't have any. I don't share.
Oh man. I need some.
There's only one.
There's an yes, I said joy never. I never would have thought about cookbooks and poetry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. I know when I'm listening, the more files splits there are, the better it is for me. But I listen to a lot of 10+ hour books that I used to study.
Yeah, if it's a book for reference or if it's a nonfiction for study, I think separate files are
Mhm.
better because if you're looking for something specific, if you listen to the whole thing and then you want to go back and brush up on something else, if it's in one file, That's ideal. It's easy to find
Yes.
that way.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, let's see. Somebody remembered for the popcorn story. Cat Voice is my first audiobook. Yay!
Fantastical.
Oddly specific Jewel says, I've got a pseudonym. Very nice. I love the picture. Okay. Trying to start on my first audiobook, nervous that I'm going to screw it up.
We all did. We all did. We all did. But don't worry about it, Ren. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine.
You're
Don't
gonna be
overthink it.
great. You're gonna
Just
be
do it.
great. And you're never gonna feel it's perfect ever.
And you're in Academy Voices, so you're fine. You got all the backup you need.
Yes, absolutely.
You're good. You're in a much better place than we were when we started all by ourselves.
Yeah. All by ourselves. Here's a random question, Angela. If
we're in AV and think of a book that's in public domain and isn't an audiobook yet that we think would be good, can we send the info request to you?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Who should they send that to? You, Gabby? Who
send
should
it to me?
There you go.
Send it to me.
There you go.
Absolutely. Yep. That's perfect. We actually, Paul, early on, that's where we had gotten a lot of our books. We had just, people like, oh, I want to do this one. Oh, I wanted to do this one. Oh, I want to do that one. And, also we have a lot of writers who are in VO Journey Academy as well as Academy Voices. So, if you're a writer and you have something, we'd love to read it. Send that to me. Send me your manuscript. We have a couple people actually. I know some people reached out to me and we've had over time. So we'd love to all, help publish. And we do publish ebooks, right now through Kindle, right, and Amazon. But we can publish your written words as well. But yeah, we love it. Absolutely. And that's the coolest thing I think about what we do is we're a community here and we can help each other out. It's not about, how elite, some story is or some best-selling author or whatever, I mean, we're here for each other. So
just FYI, the landscapers are encroaching in my personal space. So we might hear them shortly.
Uh-oh.
Sorry.
On ACX, my
government name is on the contract, but my pen name is on the book.
There you go. Ren says, I'm sure you're doing fine. What is a DAW? Good question. Well, a DAW is what we call a digital audio workspace, right? This is what we record our voiceovers onto, right? It's software. So, you might be familiar with the free version of Audacity, right? That's kind of what most people know. And then there's a variety of other ones, like a lot of us use Adobe Audition. There's also those Reaper people. And then there's, I mean, funny if Emmeline is here. And then there is Studio One and a variety of other ones, like GarageBand. You might have heard of GarageBand. That's one. But yeah, that's what they are. And there's what we use to then edit our work, master it. And those are just fancy terms for making it sound better and making it, be the file size and type that we need it to be. Oh, that's Emily. So that's what it is. That's what a DAW is. Good question.
Otherwise known as DAW.
DAW. Loved that one. Okay. Good morning from Rochester, Minnesota. I have a customer that still thinks I'm using AI. What are ways I can prove that I am not? I actually really love this question. Thank you, Professor Tracy, because, interestingly enough, before the AI boom, Angela, it was still happening to us. We were just called robots.
Yeah.
Or robotic, right? I mean, people will say, you just sound robotic. Now they say you sound like AI. Unfortunately, it's not something sadly new, but it's taken on a new form now because of AI. What do you think, Angela? What are your thoughts on that?
I think, especially these days, when I get somebody that says that to me now, I have to remind them that AI is modeled after us, not the other way around. So if you're confusing a polished professional voice with AI, it's not really any fault of theirs. It's just it's more and more prevalent now. So they confused an AI with the same kind of professionalism as a professional voice actor. So what I would do, Professor Tracy, and I have done in the past when we were accused of being AI or not real, is to record yourself with your webcam recording a section of their book and send it to them. See, look, I'm a real person. You can hear the voice, the same person. That's what I have done, and that has always satisfied or smoothed the issue.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think and in these days, I mean, they only say someone's going to be satisfied, and even then, they might not be satisfied. Though, as you say, hey, let's hop on a call,
Yeah,
let's talk, let's
they do that
see
too.
me, what's
Mm-hmm.
going on. Or I like the idea of what you said. I mean, just hit your phone and have them watch you record. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
or just take a 30-second, minute, 2 minutes of you recording and say, hey, thank you so much. And I would say too, I always try to turning around some way, because I've always learned that sometimes, many times, someone who has doubts or can be a pain in your butt, if you work it the right way, could be end up becoming, your most loyal customer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, don't ever think that that's not also an opportunity. Like, you can also listen, thank you so much for caring about this, because it's a passion of mine. We're trying to maintain, all human all the time with these voiceovers. And this is a big deal for me. So I really appreciate it. And I wanted to share this video with you so
Mm-hmm.
that you don't have any of those questions, and to know that, we're in this together. And then, you know what I mean? So that's a good opportunity. And that person will be like, wow, they're really about it like me. This is the person, they might recommend you because of it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I always think those are opportunities. Once we
Yeah.
get past our frustration with those people, these are opportunities. Great
Another thing
question.
you could do is also meet with the client before you start the book. That's good for several different reasons. For asking those questions, to making sure that you are all both on the same page, and then also saying that you're a real person. And sometimes I send them a link to my YouTube channel. This is
Well,
me.
and
I'm
I
a real
do
person.
think and I do think that, like, so one thing that helps us, right, is that we have a great deal of content that people can watch and
Yeah.
say, oh, those are those people, right?
Oh,
Like,
those are those people.
those are those people, right? I can see them, right? You know what I
Those
mean?
people.
Right, those people there. But yeah, that's what I just so funny. Those people. All
Those
right,
weird theater
those
kids.
weird peoples. Let's see. Christian says add hoofta in some places.
You mean like in the recording? Go hoofta.
Oh, I love it. I would get out of hand. I would start doing something like ay ay ay. I would be like crazy, right? I'd just start doing crazy voices. Like, oh,
Humana,
people are
humana,
always
humana.
shocked like I start doing something, because I don't, anyways. I love doing that stuff. That was my favorite stuff to do. Some of those apps I used to get hired a lot to do
For
app
character
games.
voices?
Yeah, the app games, like
Yeah.
and it was always something where it was so cheesy but fun, but I would always have I would come out laughing and having such a great time, because where else you get to do that without someone thinking you're crazy? But
Yeah.
then what we do. Let's see. Ren has one of the greatest voices I've ever heard, and talent to add to that on top. Can't wait to listen to your book, bro.
Ren does. He narrated for us for the first time, I think, in Launchpad the other night, and everybody just stopped.
Mm.
Like, who is
That's
this
what's so
guy?
cool, right? That's what's so cool about what we do.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. It says, I know what you mean. I had landscapers
And I've
yesterday.
got meetings all day. I just hope they button up quick.
I know I had them out yesterday. Yeah.
You're
You're
welcome.
welcome. Jinx, you owe me a Diet Coke.
Nope.
I know a couple of authors that have several books in print, and they are wanting them as audiobooks. I've sent them to the VA site, but is there some kind of written info I can send them? Do you mean the AV site? I'm assuming that's what
Academy
it means.
Voices.
Yeah. But you know what, Ren, I sometimes put the V first. I don't know why, because I use the voiceover so much. I think. But is there some kind of written info I can send them? Honestly, the best thing to do is there's the how it works page. And trust me, I worked exhaustively, even recently, to it, redoing the whole page and everything to make it just more clear and more understanding. That's probably the easiest thing. However, I do like the idea of, maybe we
Self-closing
could.
doors.
I'm telling you, it's crazy around here. You never know what's going on. Something happening. There's animals everywhere. There's
Sorry, it
people
caught my attention.
everywhere.
Like,
You never.
behind Anthony.
Dun dun dun.
Dun.
Oh no, that one doesn't work as much.
So send them directly to the how it works page would be the best way to go.
Yeah, definitely. I always the how it works page is really, really not to getting started, but the how it works, because that literally walks through any author, right, or narrator, but author, exactly everything, like where we distribute, what's the fees, how it works, you know what I mean, all that stuff. What can they expect about the contract? All of the things that they're going to ask, really, that's all taken care of there. And I really spent, like I said, I spent a lot of times in the last week and a half really working on that website, or that page a lot, because we had a lot of questions as we're growing. More and more people, I get email and say, hey, I want to work with you, but this doesn't make sense to me. And I'm like, oh, maybe that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what I would recommend sending them to. And that's the easiest thing, because it also gives proof we exist, instead of sending them some sort of PDF file. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I like the website better.
If you look at some of the questions below that, they're actually making a good point. So if they're out and about, if they have a comparison, like the pros and cons for us versus ACX, that could be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't currently have like it on the website itself right now. I don't have why use us over ACX, but
if there was something bullet pointed, so an author didn't have to read through all of the stuff you painstakingly put on there. Unfortunately, if there's something quick and bullet pointed.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to, I mean, it's not like pages and pages of content. It's very well, I think it's very easy for someone to go through. There's also, fat FAQs that someone can easily click through. But I really do like the what you're saying, Angela, and what this about the pros and of because that was one of the big questions we had, right? Well, I had recently was, why should I use AV over ACX?
If you create something and make it downloadable on that page, that could be just faster, easier information for not only our narrators to download and have on hand, but then also when they send the author there, the author can download that and just see a snapshot.
I love that idea, and that's something I will work on that, because we can definitely do that. That's an easy thing to do. And I would say thank you so much to all of our narrators, because honestly, so many of our authors are finding us from our narrators.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of hearts and celebrations and 100% for that. So I think everybody's in agreement. We should do that.
Good. This is not a question, but I bought the cherry fritters again.
Yes.
What the heck, man?
Those are for me. Don't you worry about that. That's what I'm saying.
Now I'm here. I need, what do I like? I like bear claws.
Okay. Don't hate on the bear claws. Don't hate on the bear claws. No.
Okay. I look forward to getting asked if I'm AI, because that'll mean my sound is on point.
And 5 years ago, that meant the complete opposite.
I know.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah. Let's see. Good idea around having a PDF file. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
That's really pretty sure you betcha. Sorry. Gosh, I want to just do a bunch of silly, fun character voices.
Do it.
I know. You should do it.
Do it.
It's really the Worms. The Worms has cute, funny voices. The Worms.
The Worms game?
Oh, yes. Would you still love me if I was a worm? Okay. I had a Zoom with an author last night, and now he wants to check out AV before loading his book to ACX. The Zoom time was priceless.
Fantastic.
That's wonderful. And Ryan, thank you so much for kind of just bringing that up in a way. First off, thank you so much. And second, by the way, if you're working with an author, we also will help out. We'll also, after you guys finish, like if you've already done, we'll distribute for them, because the biggest problem with a bunch of it, but I think one of the biggest problems of ACX, especially with their new stuff anyways they're coming out with, is that you only go to ACX, or you only go through ACX to Audible, right? They don't publish anywhere else. I mean, I do think it's Apple Books, because it's Apple Books and Audible, but other than that, they don't go to Spotify, which is a huge one. They don't go to Nook. They don't go to Google Play. They're on no libraries. I mean, Hoopla, Chirp, Biblioteca. We go yes, we do. We go all of those places. And so, I think it's a great thing that we can also help them distribute
farther.
Yeah. Let's see. So awesome again, Ryan. Let's see. Ren says, can authors that have an exclusive with Amazon for their printed books still have their audiobooks produced through AV? Absolutely. Absolutely. So exclusivity for their books, they look at them as different products, right? So even though we have a relationship that we can even publish audiobooks if they don't have a book up. But if you're going to do that through ACX and Audible, you have to actually have a book up on Kindle in order to go through ACX with an audiobook. But we don't need that. So it doesn't really matter. And it can still be on Audible. That is, yes.
So they have a lot more flexibility and reach with us.
Who wants Beck? Yeah, I'll take some. Woohoo! Breakfast pastries. I love it. Sorry.
Oh my God.
Breakfast pastries.
Okay, now it's just going to be.
Can you say breakfast pastries?
Now it's just going to be weird voices. In here, yeah. I don't do character voices. I get mainly hired for military voices or like Cleopatra.
I think you're holding out on Angela. I think you're holding out on
seductive, villainess kind of stuff. Breathy. Where'd he go? Where'd he go?
I was like, breakfast pastries.
Stop it.
Breakfast pastries.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's great. Thank you guys so much for being with us today. We really appreciate all of the breakfast pastries.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Make sure, as always, you like and subscribe, both Angela and I, and check out, Academy Voices. Please, we really do love. I think it's just the coolest thing is going on Academy Voices, this journey with you all and us, and we're voice actors doing it at the same time, and it's just super cool. And thank you guys so much. But please check it out if you've not gone on there yet. And if you have any questions, message Angela or myself or Gabby. We'd love to help out. And thank you guys so much. Whoa, we got a lot of people. Thanks for the semi-sanity. Well, if it's completely sane, then what are you wasting your time on here for, right?
Yep.
All right. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.